Happy Sunday. We hope you didn't make as many bad decisions as one does. Let's reflect together because it's
time to grow the fuck up. Hi!
Hello!
Welcome to episode 12.
Oh my goodness.
Where today we're going to talk about moving on.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about a lot of boyfriend relationships, breakups, everything like that. But we're going to really turn a new leaf here in our episodes, and we're going to really jump into growing the fuck up. Because in our recent episodes, we don't really talk about, my mom listens to our podcast, and she made this point to me. She was like, you guys really should go into depth on a situation and then how you can fix it or deal with it and all that. So I was like, you know what? This is why you're my mother. So we're going to do that for you guys and really hone in on growing the fuck up.
Yeah.
So we thought that moving on would be a great topic to talk to you guys about. And yeah, I mean, I'm not doing a little bit of moving on, but hopefully you guys are. Anyway, let's take our shots.
I can attest to that.
Let's take our shots. Yeah, I think these have cinnamon in it. I can't tell. No, they don't. Yeah, so we forgot to buy them again, even though this morning I thought about it, but whatever. Cheers! Mine are really good, and
This one smells good.
Yeah, this doesn't have cinnamon in it. Yeah, no. So good.
Oh, it's fresh.
Mm-hmm. It's like drinking a salad. You know what I think about?
I just ate a salad.
You know what I think about? I wonder if people only listen to our Spotify's and it gets quiet for a second, then all you hear is
what the fuck is that? Gulp?
ASMR gulps. Okay. Now, hold on. I gotta fix my hair.
Oh, that was spicy.
Yeah?
Tad bit.
Okay, so I want to jump in first and say our generation has a terrible attention span. I've realized that.
Yes, we do.
Now, oh my god. So when one goes to move on, you have about 4 to 5 seconds to please that person, and get their attention. Mm-hmm. Right? So I feel like our generation sucks at moving on and finding someone new because our attention span is so small and we only think about one thing.
That, but I also feel like...
And we all know what that one thing is. You nasty nasties out there. Okay. Shut up.
Huh? No, but I was gonna say was, I feel like it's hard for our generation to move on too, because our generation, once they have that significant other and they fall so hard for them or whatever, then they try to compare that one person to all the other people that they are trying to talk to and everything like that, and they just never get that same, I guess, satisfaction that they got once before. Yeah. Or they're not getting the attention that they want in that moment.
Or that they're comfortable and I guess comfortable is the word. Yeah. Or normal with.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it too.
Oh, that's 100% a big part of it. I think moving on
I think it's the hardest thing to do sometimes.
I think that is the hardest thing in life, because how I look at life, unfortunately, it's going to sound really bad, but how I look at life is you were put on this earth to find your other half. When you look at a human heart, it looks like half of the hearts that we draw. That's how my brain interprets it. So you're looking for the other half of you. And I feel like that's all we do in life. Yeah, we learn, we laugh, we cry, we do all that stuff, but we are just purposely here to find our other half and procreate. Is it procreate? Is that the correct word? Recreate?
I think so. No, procreate. No.
I don't know. I feel like I need to look this up now. Sorry, guys. I didn't really pay attention in science class or English or just school. If
Reproduce.
it wasn't, yeah, reproduce. We were put on this earth to reproduce, and it's like if you don't find that, then you're like, what's my purpose here? You know?
Yeah.
So people are so pushed mentally and emotionally to find that specific love.
Yes.
And it's hard because this generation is like, oh, you're not so-and-so, or you're not giving me the love that I once had before, so why are you in my life? Or why should I even try with you?
Or you're not giving me the attention that I want.
Yeah.
In that moment, or just the attention that I need, kind of thing. And I feel like this generation goes a lot off of attention and always seeking attention from guys. At least for girls.
Yeah.
Always seeking attention from guys, and if they don't get that attention from one guy, it's next
on
one.
to the next.
On to the next. On to the next. And then
insert Ariana Grande.
Right?
Thank you, next.
They're never satisfied.
But I will say, like, our generation, you could always, I don't know. I hate the one to the next, to the next, to the next. It's like, I don't know, it's like a list. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't fill out my list, I don't want you.
If you don't check the boxes.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because everybody in this world has a mental list in their head.
Yeah.
With boxes that, if they find somebody, they talk to them, they're like, oh, yeah, you check off 2 boxes on my list. Or you check off however many boxes. And then you meet that person and you're like, oh, wow, this person really checks off all the boxes.
I wonder if back then they had like, oh, she's my type, he's my type,
Back when...
Like, okay, so when I say back then, I think of like The Notebook and like how they were running around and just going to fairs, and he just went up to her and was like, I want to take you on a date.
I feel like life was so much easier then.
I fear it probably was. Because you know what? Like
I feel like they had no problems. There was no problems that they had to
because
deal
it's
with. Because
it's this damn phone.
It's this.
Just like our mothers used to say. Our mothers used to say, "It's that damn phone." Hell yeah, shorty.
It is the fucking phone.
You're right. It is that damn phone.
I was not that kid that was on my phone.
Oh, I was always on my phone. Other than it always being taken away from me, but
no. I'm saying when I didn't have a phone, I was never on any sort of electronic, really.
Yeah. No, but you have to think, like, how people, you just walk around and you just walk up to somebody. Now, this generation, when somebody does that, you're like, oh my God, how does she have all that confidence? And, like, it's like, where does that come from?
Everybody wants to do it over the phone or go through the screen or something like that.
Because now social media has given us all just like some type of fuckery in our head where it's like, you're not good enough for this person. You're not good enough, because everybody puts out what they want. Everybody double taps on what they like more, Yeah. So it's hard.
We have the dating apps.
Yeah.
That we went over that.
It's just like harder, because my dad and my parents, well, my dad and my mom, sorry, I don't know why I fucking said it like that, but my parents, they told me how they met, right? And my mom just walked into a diner. My dad was sitting there, and he looked at his friends after she walked past, turned to his friends and said, that's the woman I'm going to marry. And then my dad was a little nervous though. He didn't go up to her. His friends were like, oh my God, and went up to her. And, like, was like, oh, our friend thinks you're cute, da-da-da. So there is still that type of, like,
everybody's
wingman.
Everybody's going to have that nervousness, and they may not be the first person that comes up to you and talks to you, but you will have that wingman of, hey, my friend thinks you're cute, you want to talk to them or something.
I used to be able to go up to people. Not anymore, though.
I can't.
That chance is fucking blew past. Did it once. It was great.
I get nervous.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but
and then I will say it, and then my friends are like, "Who are we talking about?" And I'm like, "Nobody."
You know what's funny though is like I can't tell anybody at the bar that somebody's cute.
People nowadays are fucking rude.
Yeah,
so
rude,
if you walk
ruthless.
up to them and you say, "Oh, I think you're cute," like when you were talking about on spring break when you went up to that lady.
Oh, yeah.
For your friend, and she turned around and she was like,
"Yeah,
no."
She was not cool for that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many people out there in this world that are.
But in that moment, in that 0.5 moment, you're already going mentally through your list and checking all those boxes or not checking them, and you're gonna be like, "No, I don't want to talk to you." You know, so then that's why people are rude.
I know, but it's so funny.
And that's why people can't move on, because you're like, you're not so and so, you're not doing this, you don't have those types of eyes, you don't have that kind of hair.
Yeah.
It's hard to move on in this generation because now everybody looks like everybody also. Have you ever realized that?
That is true.
It's like, oh, the Riley Green mustache and hair combo is in. It's
like all the trends
Yeah.
are now coming back, and everybody's getting into those trends and all looking the same.
I mean, a trend has always been a thing. You know?
I know that, but I'm saying, like, when we were talking about, like, cowboys and country, like, now there's a lot of people out there who dress country, who like country, who look the part, and everything like that. So now they're all starting to look the same.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you really can't have like a specific type. Everybody's just the same. So it's hard to move on. But honestly, well, yeah, actually, no, it is hard to move on because if you're going to date somebody that looks exactly like your ex.
Are you really moving on?
Are you really moving on?
Not really.
Nope.
I mean, yes, it's a different person, but they look the same. Not exactly the same, but characteristics and, features look the same. So I was thinking about something the other day. It's really hard.
I was thinking about something the other day, and I don't know if I want to say it on here or not. Okay, so...
Well, now you have to.
So, when I first saw B, black hat, black shirt, jeans, cowboy boots, right?
Okay.
When A came over the other day, black hat, black shirt, jeans, cowboy boots, I was concerned for my mental health. Yep. Mm-hmm. And
I didn't see.
No, I know, but when
I didn't see his feet, so I didn't see what he was wearing because I was laying on the couch.
Yeah, no, I remember when he told me that his mom bought them for his birthday or whatever it was. He was like, "Yeah, I got these."
That is slightly concerning.
Right?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. But I was like,
difference though.
Lord have mercy. No, but that's exactly what it is. It's like it's hard to move on because I'm getting the copy paste. I'm getting a copy paste.
Yes, you kind of.
In slight ways. Because right now I'm having a pattern of fucking firemen.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm in a loop.
We went out the other night and she was sitting there playing pool with some firemen guy.
I'm sitting there playing pool and this guy comes over and he's like, "Oh, like, are you guys winning?" Da da da. I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I'm drunk." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Drunk. And then he's like, in my face. We're having a decent conversation. I can't lie. He was cute, right? Whatever. And he's like, "Oh, you're Italian. I can just tell the way you talk, like the way your mannerisms are, the way you're yelling at me." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, my bad. You're in my face. I'm gonna yell at you." And he's like, "Yeah, but if I like it though." And I was like, "All right, pipe down, first of all. Second of all, shut up." I was like, what is about you that I should be liking? And he was like, "Well, I have really nice eyes. I have a sleeve. I'm a firefighter." And I turned around. I started cackling.
She looked at me. She looked at me and she tapped me on the shoulder because I was talking to somebody.
Because at this point, Because at this point, he had walked away to go see who was playing on the table.
Yeah. And she, tapped me, and she was like, "He's a firefighter."
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh.
I was like, he's a firefighter.
Yeah, literally.
But he smelled like a fucking porta potty, so I was like, go, please leave.
When she said that.
We walked out of the bar, and we got in my car, and I was like, so that man smelled like a fucking porta potty.
No, you said that in the bar.
Oh.
You said that. You said that in the bar.
Fuck. That was
kind of loud.
He kept coming over, so I guess he didn't hear it.
I don't know. Jacob was sitting right there next to me.
I told him, though.
I know. Well, you told both of us, but you said it loud as fuck. Anyway.
I have no filter. Anyway, yeah, but I feel like there are ways to move on.
Yeah.
You got any ways to move on, Kay? Know how to do that?
Well, that's kind of hard because I'm not very good at it myself. But
me neither.
No, I should punch you in the head for that one. But, no, I think after my most recent ex, it was really hard for me to move on. I was in a really big funk. Didn't want to do anything. Really was just upset. Didn't want to go to work. Was upset at work. Would cry. Whatever. And my friends looked at me and they were like, "What the fuck are you crying for?" Kind of thing. And I was like, because I miss him and all of this stuff. And they were like, yeah, you miss him, but why?
Yeah, but it's also like, do you miss him physically, or do you miss the feeling that he gave you? That's, I think, what they were trying to say.
Yeah, probably. And I was like, meh, I don't know, whatever. And they were like, okay, you know what you're going to do? You're going to get out of bed. You're going to stop sitting there fucking sulking. And you're going to come out with us. And I was like, okay. So I went out the one night. And literally the first night that I went out, some guy comes up to me, doesn't say a word. Literally, there's this much space in between my friends who are standing in front of me, puts his hand in between them. I grab his hand because he's asking me to go out onto the floor with him. Pulls me onto the floor.
There you go.
And then after we were getting ready to leave, whatever, he came up to me. He was like, hey, what's your Snapchat, whatever. So I gave him my Snapchat. And so then me and him were talking. So that that helped me move on a little bit. I mean, it kind of sounds bad because...
Well, to move on, to get over somebody, you got to get under somebody. That's a fucking lie, BT dubs. Don't do that.
But... I mean, it was nice because it kind of took my mind off of things. Yeah. And then with that guy...
Gave you a sense of attention that you were fiending for, that you weren't getting from somebody else, but in that moment, you were loving it.
Yeah. Yes. And we ended up going on a date.
How'd that go?
We went mini golfing.
You know what? It's always the mini golfing. It's always the one.
But it's so funny because I was at work.
Yeah.
And... I, brought clothes with me to work to change into after. And I looked cute. I was in, my black jeans that I had and, that yellow shirt that I have that's... at the bottom. And,
fluffy?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there. I was waiting for him to text me or whatever. So we ended up meeting at the mini golf place or whatever. Did mini golfing. We were just talking the whole time.
That's good.
The whole time, just talking. And then we finished mini golf, and we were standing outside his truck. And we were talking more. And then we were talking about relationships. And I was like,
well,
I just broke up with my ex-boyfriend about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm right there with you, except that I'm 3 months or whatever, a couple months.
Yeah.
And whatever. So then we just started talking. It was kind of cold outside, and we ended up getting in the truck. And we were just chilling, talking in there, whatever. We were talking about tattoos and whatnot. And I'm actually kind of sitting the way he was sitting in his truck.
Slay.
He put one leg, like, behind me. And then one leg was, like, bent like this on, like, by his steering wheel.
Okay.
So his legs were spread open.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was like, come here. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I, like, laid down on him like this. And we were just chilling, whatever, listening to music. And then
The most sensual date ever.
literally, I looked up at him like this. He grabbed my face and started making out with me. I was like,
You know, men will always know when the time is right.
I was like,
women
woo!
always don't want that timing to be right.
woo! I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then, because it was late already at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And right as I'm about to get out of the truck, he goes, "You want one more for the road?"
Oh.
And I said, "Yeah."
I'm gonna start saying that.
I
You
was
want
like,
one more for the
Yeah,
road?
because I was like, "No, I don't want it to end."
No!
No! And then he was like, "Do you want one more for the road?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, I have to go now because I have to get up for work."
Ugh, these
And I
men
was
being
like-
fucking men and having jobs
And I was like,
that they actually have to
God
go to.
Damn it!
Dumb.
It was good. It was really good. But sad to say that person now has a girlfriend. It didn't go behind.
I think moving on is
So that definitely helped me.
yeah, I think moving on is hard, especially when your ex is still in your life in some sort of way, even when you try to block them out, even on your phone, mentally, anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's just so many, it's like 50-50 in my brain always, you know? Like, I'll be like, okay, one day, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go and try to hang out with someone, and then later that night I'll get a text from him saying whatever it says, and then I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, how did you know that I, you know, was home alone, or, you know, like, something like that you could text me at this time, you know, like, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Or, like, it'll just, like, randomly, you'll see them out. And I saw this thing the other day where it was like, a boy will never lose contact with the girl that he knows he's meant to be with. And that shit, like, stab to the heart, twist it, turn it, pull it out, stab it back in again. Yeah.
The bop it.
Bop it, twist it, fuck.
Just fuck with my emotions at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. So what it is fucking with my emotions. But
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that because
but it's, in a way, it's also really not that hard to move on, even if your ex is still contacting you. This whole thing about no contact, keeping in contact.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't want to be your friend if you're my ex, first of all. Second of all, especially if it was, like, not a terrible breakup, but you, like, because you both still have feelings, you know? I don't want to be your friend. Second of all, if I'm going no contact with you, you need to know that, like, if I'm not reaching out to you, that means I don't want to talk to you. But the lover girl in me wants you to reach out first, wants you to want to talk to me. And that's the problem here is he does. He knows that. He knows that it's not like I'm wrapped around his finger or he's wrapped around mine. It's not like he knows that I'm still running after him or that he's running after me, you know? It's very equal playing field right now, I have to say.
Yeah.
But it's more along the lines of we talk to each other every day for 3 years, and at this point it's 4 years now. We still talk to each other, you know? Like, that whole year that we weren't in a relationship, we were still texting, seeing each other, you know? Like, stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's why it's so hard for you to move on.
Yeah, but apparently it's hard for him too, in the same circumstances that it's hard for me.
Yes, and it's going to be until you both realize that for you guys to move on, not saying that it couldn't work out in the future,
Mm-hmm.
because you never know. But for the time being, for you guys to be able to move on now, I feel like the only way that you guys are going to be able to do that is if you just stop talking to each other. You can have and feel the need to text that person, but don't. If you need to text that person, type it out in a note.
Been there, done that, first of all. Second of all, I've blocked him multiple times on everything.
She has. But
Unblocked him because he literally is, like, he's just always going to be there. Third of all, I don't text him. I block him. I go to a bar or I go to work, he'll show up.
But that's just because we all live around the same area.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard.
But also, I talked to my dad this morning, and he was like, I really like him. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, I think you guys should just get back together. Like, this is stupid, Adriana. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Dad. Thank you for your input. And then I guess he called him today.
I still think that you need to branch out.
Well, yeah, definitely am still an option.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm closing that off, but I don't know.
Slowly, you're closing it off.
Red string theory. The string is getting longer, but it's still there.
The string is getting longer. How?
Like between us.
Oh.
The red string theory.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of the red string theory?
No.
Okay, so I feel like we've talked about this before. So there's like this, I think it's Chinese theory where soulmates are attached by an invisible red string.
Okay.
And don't fact check me on this, but I do know that the red string theory is a thing. So my painting on my wall. It's the red string theory where two soulmates are connected by an invisible red string and they're always longing for each other. They're always reaching for each other and they're connected. And when the string is like longer, it means they're not so close, but they're still connected. And when it's close, it means they're together, like just.
Okay.
Your soul will always be connected to your soulmate.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like everybody has their twin flame, everybody has their soulmate, and that's why it's hard to find somebody else, and that's why it's hard to move on when you feel still so connected to somebody. So.
I mean, yeah, I have nothing to say over that, but I'm just saying it's just. I feel like a lot of us always think that it's so impossible to move on because we don't want to let ourselves think that we can move on.
Yeah.
And we don't think, actually, like, if we get broken up with, say that's the circumstance, we get broken up with, we don't know how to move on from that. Because then we think we're not good enough for somebody else.
True.
In a way. Because I know I felt like that before.
Yeah.
Where I didn't think I was good enough for anybody else. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to be sad and depressed. And not talk to anybody. Not whatever. And it happens. We all go through it at some point or another.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so I feel like moving on is a difficult thing for our generation, but I think it's a good thing for everybody to do. But yeah, back actually to what you were saying, that you didn't feel like you were good enough for somebody else after your breakup. I think that somebody else, after my breakup, in my head, it was not that I wasn't good for somebody else, it was that somebody else wasn't good enough for me. Does that make sense? Well, it kind of doesn't make sense to my brain, so can you explain it to me? Because it made sense for a minute, and then when I heard it out loud, it didn't really make sense. Somebody else wasn't good enough for me. Yeah, no, my brain just finished loading, sorry guys. So it was almost like other people could come into my life, but like I said, those boxes, they weren't being checked.
Because you're comparing.
Exactly. Everybody compares. This is the fucking problem. God, I hate it here. No, but I've
recently come to the conclusion that comparing people is not worth it because you are never going to find the same person in somebody else.
Yeah, you asked me. You asked me the other day when I brought up somebody. You were like, "Oh, are you comparing so and so and him?" And I was like, "No. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was Katie."
It might have been Katie.
Yeah. But I was like, "No. He is just checking all the boxes. I'm just going down the line of boxes." You know? And in a slight way, you do have to keep comparing. You have to have a slight amount of, like, 13% of comparing. Kind of. Because if you have a type, then you have a type, and you have to compare.
Well, yes.
You also have to
Type-wise, yes, but
learn and remember what you like and what you don't like. You have to compare what you did like from the last relationship when you don't like. You know? It's not just the person that you're comparing, it's the relationship.
Well, yes. It's what's happening or what happened in the previous relationship that you don't want to happen in the new.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a bit of comparing.
That's why I said 13%.
But not comparing the person to the other person.
Yeah, exactly.
It's comparing actions,
Yeah.
not the person.
Now, when the guy or the girl wants to start comparing themselves to your ex and be like, "Oh, I am better in this way," leave, block, delete, you're gone. Don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that.
That's stupid. That's really stupid. But
Because that just shows, like, your ego's large.
you're up here.
Bring it down.
You need to be here.
Are we equal?
No.
No.
There.
Oh,
We're equal now.
my arm just, like, fell. That was it. No, but, yeah, moving on it's a difficult thing. We all know
It's
this.
a very difficult process.
But it's also, like,
and sometimes it takes people a long time.
yeah, there's this thing where it's, like, 3 months for every year that you were with that person. That's how long it's going to take to move on. Fucking lie. 9 months. That's how long it should have taken me.
Yes, but you're also,
Yeah.
like...
Yeah. Nope. That's it. We're just going to stop there. But no, yeah, so...
No, I wasn't trying to say anything rude. I'm just saying, like, your heart is just very big.
I know.
That's it.
Even after I was heartbroken, I really don't think I was, because I think I moved on from the person that I was, though. What I did move on from was the old me, you know?
Yeah.
And people realize that. But even when I would go out, yes, I would get drunk and cry like a little baby, like every drunk girl does.
I've done that.
I know, and most of everybody probably has done that. But the thing is, I remembered all the lovely things he said to me about my brain and about my personality and about my looks. And yes, I know looks isn't everything, but about my looks. And I took that with me every time I would go out in public, and I would just shine. I would let all of that shine. Whether he was there or not, I would let that shine. And then afterwards, if I wanted to cry because I was drunk and I wanted to listen to some sad music, then I would. But when I was in public, I would let that shine. Give or take a couple times where I did see him and wanted to key his car, but still. No cars were harmed in the making of Adriana Healing, so. But, so I think...
Thoughts were made.
Yeah, just thoughts, I guess. Whatever. No, but yeah, so like, it's like, I moved on from the old person that I was, but I brought all of it with me in a sense, you know?
Well, yeah, because that heals you and changes you into the person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about all the good things, all the good qualities that he saw.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad qualities that you saw, you're getting rid of.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, moving on isn't just moving on from the person that you were with. It's also you.
Yourself.
Yeah, the person that you were when you were with them.
Yes.
You know? Because you could have acted so differently being with them. You know, like how people get into a relationship and they're like, oh, like, I can't hang out with you. Like, and people, they start to lose their friends and then they try to gain them afterwards. That's not the person you want to be, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to leave that with that relationship because obviously something there wasn't working. Mm-hmm. Move on from that, you know? That's why people, after they break up, they start going to the gym, they go on runs, they do better for themselves, you know? Because they're moving on from the person that they didn't like.
Yeah. Oh.
Bam. Moving on. So, I don't know. I have not fully moved on just yet, but I'm getting there, and I can see it in myself, and I can feel it mentally and emotionally, but it's not fully there. You know, it's like maybe 65, 45? 65? 40, 60?
Yeah.
No,
No.
35. 60, 40?
I think you're about.
This is just us doing math. We can't.
I think you're about 70-30.
Oh my god, can you guys hear my stomach down there?
Hello.
What?
I think you're about 70-30.
70-30? Maybe. Yeah, I think I am because I was with a boy in public the other day, so I think that sounds about right.
70-30.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. And his dad wants to meet me. It's a little scary. Maybe, yeah, 70-30 sounds about right.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh. Maybe I am moving on, guys.
Good.
You know that's a fucking joke.
She needs to.
Either I will or I'll take my dad's advice and just get back together with him. One of the two will happen. But it will be for the better because I'm not going to fucking let myself go through some fuck shit for no reason, you know?
But it needs to be on your own
Terms and boundaries.
terms.
And
Yes. Not just if that does happen and you do take your dad's advice and get back together with him. Don't just jump right back into it.
Well, yeah, I tell him this when we speak. I'm like, if we were to get back together, that doesn't mean X, Y, and Z. It means ABC, you know?
I know. I'm just saying.
But I think, like,
Sometimes you like to jump into things full throttle.
yeah, 100%.
And that's not a thing that you need to jump full throttle into.
Yeah, thank God I don't have a sports car. I'd be dead.
That shit would be wrapped around a pole.
Probably. No, but I think moving on, as difficult as it is a very good thing.
Yes.
Oh my god, my stomach.
Wow, I heard that one. I heard. Go like this. Talk!
Anyway, I feel like if you have the right people around you, it's easier to move on because if you have the right wing woman, the right energy, the right drinks flowing through you.
If you, honestly, if you really just have the good friend group, that good friend group around you that you know you can trust and you can tell anybody anything to and cry about anything to them and they just understand it, that's what's going to help you move on. And that's what helped me move on from my most recent ex, was having that friend group to, you know, lift me up
Yeah.
and make things fun and get my mind off of it. That's what everybody needs. Oh my, mine just went off again. That's crazy.
You know what's funny though is when I was post breakup, it was always me reaching out, being like, "Let's go out. I want to go out. Let's go here. Let's do this. I want to do this." You know, like I was the Instagram baddie. I was always taking pictures, always posting videos, always on Snapchat, all that shit. You know, so it's like I don't know. I tried moving on. I talked to a bunch of guys, but I guess like I hadn't pushed away the feelings, the thoughts, and everything in my heart.
In your brain, you did.
I always think about this. Yeah, no. In my brain, yeah, in my brain, I did. In my heart, I was just like, that just can't happen. But I do always think about this. I'm like, if my heart is so broken, then why am I still such a happy person? You know, like obviously I have my days. I'm human. I'm also on birth control. I cry a lot, so you know, but I genuinely think like I am a happy person, and if my heart was so broken and so hurt, because there have been days where I have wanted to rip it out of my heart, out of my chest, but like if I was so broken and so hurt, why am I still such a happy person? Am I
It
just
could be a fake happy.
am I just suppressing my
Yes.
sadness?
Yes.
I don't think so anymore.
Not anymore, but you were.
For a little while, yeah, I was, but
You were 100% suppressing your.
I always think about how I got out of that. I always think about what I did, how, I guess, like, time doesn't heal all, but it heals some, you know? Why do you think we all have scars when we hurt ourselves? Scar.
Yeah.
Because time only heals some, not all.
I don't know. I don't know. it's a very hard topic to talk about because there's only so much that
Because does anybody genuinely move on?
I don't think everybody has their different interpretations of moving on.
I think so, yeah.
Nobody has the exact same interpretation of it. So it's very hard to talk about with somebody because my interpretation of moving on is a lot different than your interpretation, is a lot different than Katie's interpretation.
Because you also have to think, like, all the shows that we grew up watching, like, One Tree Hill, Gossip Girl,
Yeah.
where what's his name shows up at their wedding and she runs off with him. Like, it's just amazing to me, like The Notebook.
They make these shows where it's like they're together when they're young. And then they grow up and they break up, grow apart, everything like that. But there's always that one person that's still in love with that other person.
And they
And then they
reconnect.
come running back.
Like, it's hard. Like, does anybody actually ever move on? Because I've watched my brothers date, right?
Yeah.
I've seen their girlfriends, and I've become friends with each one of them. Each one of them had a similar personality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Each one looked a little bit better than the next. And I don't say better in, like, oh, she was prettier. Just, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like
Has their shit together more.
not really. I mean, no, it was like copy paste, not so much plagiarism. Copy paste, a little bit less plagiarism. Copy paste,
No plagiarism.
no plagiarism.
Okay.
It was like that.
Okay.
So it's like, are you really moving on from that first person you ever loved? So when you go to marry someone, you know, like, didn't Justin Bieber call Selena Gomez like 28 times or whatever it was on his wedding day? Do you truly ever move on from somebody?
I don't know.
I think that's what we should
I
leave.
guess we will never know.
I think that's what we should leave you guys with. Do you feel as though anybody ever moves on from their relationships that they've been in, or just moves on in general? There you go.
Yeah. I think that's a very good way to end.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
And I think everybody needs to drop a comment.
Facts, please.
And, you know,
Facts, no printer.
let us know what your interpretation is of moving on.
Yeah, please. We want to hear. I want to read some of your moving on stories. What helped you move on?
Yeah, same. I'm interested to know how you moved on from something like that and what steps got you through it. I
But
think it would be interesting.
yeah, so again, happy Sunday. Like, subscribe,
Comment, turn the notifications on,
follow our
follow.
Spotify, our TikToks, our Instagrams, Grow the Fuck Ups, Instagram,
Yes.
everything. Just stay on top of all social media for us, and
Yeah.
we'll keep you guys updated on everything that involves the podcast.
Yep.
But stay
Until
crazy.
Until then,
Peace
we'll
out.
see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.